I come today not to rip the Eagles, not to praise them either, but to offer some kind of perspective and real truth about what we saw yesterday and what they are. Now, last week, going into this game, I thought that getting on the Eagles bandwagon to think that they would handle the 49ers was a kind of a reaction of too much too soon. So I'm not going to sit here and rip them. I expected them to lose to the 49ers. I really did. I just didn't think they were ready for that spot. And as it turns out, they weren't. And this is a growing process year. And it's a growing process with a lot of people on this team, the quarterback and especially the head coach. And every week, we're going to be looking at this. They're a week-to-week proposition where we just have to roll with the punches and hope we see growth and somewhat of a, I hate to use the word, but a process. So let's here are the truths. The game plan obviously was not as sound as it was last week. They had a really good game plan against a really bad team last week, and I think we got a little bit crazy with it. So the game plan seemed to be in this game very questionable. It wasn't as assertive as it was last week because we were lauding the fact that they went boom, boom, snap. They knew exactly what to do against the Atlanta Falcons. It didn't look like they knew really what to do in this game against the 49ers. I think the head coach tried to outsmart himself a little bit. He went away from 12 personnel, didn't target the tight ends, doing a little reverse psychology, which is too much thinking. He was thinking that the 49ers were going to take away what they saw the Eagles do against the Falcons, so he decided to come out with this game plan. Now, the way I look at it is if you have a strength and you utilized it, you come back with a strength. You play to the strength of your players until the other team stops it, and then you can adjust. But I thought he got a little too cute with the game plan. So let's look at Hurts. Again, this is a week-to-week proposition on the guy. And I know a lot of people want to think that he's complete. He's not. And a good defense showed that yesterday. He threw a couple of nice balls. We know what the nice balls were. He threw a nice ball to Watkins, although the defender, Watkins' speed made the defender spin his wheels. And so it was a clear path. But he threw it 60 yards. It looked like it had a good arc to it. It looked like it was thrown properly in a nice spiral. And the one he throws to Rager, obviously, is a nice one, but the defender kind of quit on the play. But there were a couple plays where he was obviously short on long balls. And so when we looked at it, we go, that's not his strength. Nor is his strength to throw the ball down the field. And so if you look at the pass chart and you look at the completions that he had, these completions are outside the hash. You look at it, all the dots are outside. So either he's not comfortable throwing it in the middle of the field where he really has to gun it, or the coach isn't comfortable with him throwing it in the middle of the field. But the fact that they didn't use the tight end, didn't use 12 personnel, I thought was really inexcusable because it's one of their strengths. So now let's look at the head coach. He got too cute with the game plan, but he also looked scared when they had the ball at the 1. Now, you get a play like that, you're at the 1, you got to be thinking ahead and go, okay, these plays are the ones that will work. Instead, he tried something. He pushed this button over here. Let's see if this will go. Let's see if this will go. Until he gets to a fourth down desperation where he tries to outsmart himself again and use some version of the Philly, the Philly special, or the Philly not so special, as it turns out, because Greg Ward rifles a ball for no reason after Hurts is not up. They expected Hurts to be open. He's the only receiver on the play. They shut him down right away. At that point, you got to call fire. And if you're a guy like Greg Ward, you got to take that ball. Okay, well, I guess I got to try to get this myself. And he didn't do it. So there's a lot of things we can look at. Now, the thing I worry about in losing to the 49ers is that now they go into the cauldron of games where we don't think they can win. And when they get it out of that, they play Carolina, who's now 2-0. Now, I know you don't think Carolina's a good team, but down there, that's going to be a challenge. And the one thing that I hope that they could avoid was a 1-5 start. So we just have to play it week to week. Now, Dallas is going to be a tough game. And then you get the Chiefs, and then you get Tampa Bay. So it's not going to be fun from this point on. So Tyrone, what did you see yesterday? I can't be that angry because I didn't think they were going to win the game, but you did pick the Eagles in yesterday's game.
Yeah, and I'm angry more because Sirianni was stupid, and I don't mean that he is stupid. I mean he was stupid in that the game plan doesn't make any sense. It seems like, not because of anything the 49ers did, he just said everything we did last week, they're going to want to do that, so we're going to do the exact opposite. Hurts went from the lowest amount of air yards in the whole league week 1 to pending Monday night game, the most in week 2. That doesn't make any sense to go to those extremes. Also, I know he wants to get his system going. We talked about that. But he did 15% 11 personnel week 1, 75% week 2, not at all based on anything that San Fran did. San Fran wants to be in base. They were able to still play in their base defense. It didn't affect the thing. 4 targets for the tight ends total, 7 to Smith, many of them forced, where the ball came out late, so there was no need to throw it there. The check down to Goddard or to Ertz was there. It just seems like his game plan hurt him. And now you can say, they made some mistakes and stuff. Yes, but perhaps they made those mistakes. Like Rager's not a polished route runner. That's part of his problem. Yeah. A better wide receiver would stay in bounds. Corners, somebody was like, what's he supposed to do? Corners try to force that leverage play where they lean on you and force you out of bounds all the time. The good wide receivers know how to dig back in and go back out. He's not a polished route runner, so don't run that play to that guy because he can't do it correctly. It just seems like his game plan was bad.
Yeah.
And that's what bothers me.
No, I agree with you. See, the 49ers just came firing at him, especially in the second half. And if you're thinking on your feet like a bubble screen, I mean, they did that all last week against the Falcons. Those short patterns, they had running backs coming out in the flat. They had bubble screens to the wide receiver. The one thing I'm disappointed I haven't seen so far is that I think that Devontae Smith can get open, and they don't get him open in a seam on a short route, like a 15-yard. Get it to him, and maybe he can make a play with Yak after that. I don't see those plays.
No, it's either really, really short like week 1 or way, way deep 1,000 times. And the first one was bad because he was very open. And then what it looks like, I don't know if Hurts has just an arm strength issue. Because you mentioned how good the Quez Watkins pass was. I'm saying I think some of it is also something's not right when he gets on the move. Like he needs to recollect it and then let it go. Is that strength? Is that mechanics? What is it? Because it looks like he had to roll a little bit. Smith's wide open, and it feels like he felt like he had to double clutch it to throw it down there and end up short. When he just lets it fly, it seems to come out better. So I don't know if that's a mechanical issue.
You're talking about the one early to Smith.
Where he was open.
Where it looked like, I said this before, it's like, you ever see like a kid on the beach and he tries to overthrow a football and he turns his wrist and it doesn't come out right.
Exactly.
Like, that's the way that first one looked.
Right. And for people out there, like you mentioned, he's not complete. This doesn't mean that we're saying that Jalen Hurts stinks. Jalen Hurts was not as good week 2 as he was week 1. The passes were tougher. Now, is that because of Sirianni? Partially. But some of that seems like his limitations, and we do have to see if he can solve those as the weeks go forward, because if he can't, you can't ultimately win with him.
Yeah, and I tell you what, listen, I know the plays look good, and it's nice to have a quarterback who can run out of the pocket and get some yards. I know that's not, but he did it too much, and you can't rely on that because that's going to lead to nothing but bad. That's not like a game plan thing. That's a desperation, and that's not something that you can hang your hat on. It's nice. It looks nice. He breaks out. He gets a first down. I know that's nice. It's nice to have that. But I thought there were too many of those in that game, and if you have to resort to that, that's desperation. That means your offense is not running properly.